Hi, I'm Tommy.
And I'm Paul.
Welcome to our podcast, Dementia from the Inside Out. Hello, I'm Tommy Dunn and I'm living with dementia, and welcome to our podcast, Dementia from the Inside. Today we're going to be chatting with Chris and Paul, who's living with dementia. So can I say a big welcome to you both, and thank you for taking the time to come here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Right, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Well, my name is Paul, and I was involved for many years in various projects, and gradually I started to suffer from dementia, and fortunately I was able to work through the various groups that are available for learning how to come to terms with the problems of worry about dementia. It's so easy for people to be concerned about it, but I think now I've come to terms with it, and that's partly or largely because of what's gone on in the various groups we have for that sort of activity.
I'm Chris. I'm a retired primary school teacher. Paul worked in the oil industry dealing with contracts. And for most of our working lives, we lived overseas in the Middle East. We have 2 children, both obviously grown up now. And about 6 years ago, we came to live down in Formby. And as Paul said, 2 years ago, was just over 2 years ago, we was diagnosed with mixed-type dementia, and we've been living ever since.
Yeah. Can you tell us how you both felt at the time of receiving that diagnosis of dementia?
I think my initial feeling was that it didn't exist. That it couldn't possibly have been me. And when there were things that were strange or difficult, then you sort of try to bypass them, because you thought, well, I was far better than that, so I knew I should be doing this, that, or the other. But it took time, and I think that's the big thing. And all the groups that we've helped with amongst ourselves, working with those sorts of things, you start to understand what it's all about. And I think that's down to the achievements of the groups that are operating throughout. I think it's superb what we're going through now and how much we're learning.
For me, it was relief. I knew one of us wasn't right. I wasn't sure which one. Mostly because it came during COVID, during lockdown. And, initially I just thought, what is going on? But once we got a diagnosis, and we were very lucky, Paul had a brain scan very early on. So we got a complete diagnosis very, very early on. I could start reading up about it because I'm a reader. I need to find information in books. And then it was like, okay, how do we deal with this? How do we move forward? But initially, relief, I have to say. It wasn't shock, it was just relief.
It's funny you should say that, because my wife said exactly the same. It was a relief, because she said, I realised now it was the dementia that was saying all the horrible things, and that made them do the funny things, because she thought she was going to do laddie, so...
Absolutely.
It is it does sound strange to say that it's a relief to get a diagnosis of dementia, but it makes things make sense. Now, Paul, you're into your woodwork. Can you tell us a little bit about your group, your woodwork group?
Yeah. I'd sort of got into the business of helping to develop change improvements of people who had various problems with communications. And we started a process of using humour to help people. And I started going to working out in Men in Sheds, and I was there for about 2 or 3 years, helping people with all sorts of different problems. And because I'd understood some of these issues, I was able to help because I had an understanding of people that had the same sort of problems. And I got great pleasure and joy from seeing people who had similar problems to me, who then, over a period of time, they blossomed and they knew and they wanted to take part. And I will always remember a young man who spent a long time learning how to do things. And when we finally finished all the tasks that he wanted to do, and he spent so much joy in making things for himself and for others, and by bringing humour to that, I was able to say things like, he was wanted to use a hammer, and I would say he didn't know how to use it, so I showed him how he should do is use it, and then the penny dropped what he should be doing. And he blossomed. And I thought, this is great. A little knowledge from me helped so much for somebody who had the same sort of problems as me. And that's what led me into using various tasks and jobs to help others. And for me now, that's the number one joy. It really is.
Yep.
Not more than I can say than that.
No, that's fine. Now, basically, it's great to be able to give something back, and people don't realise that people living with dementia can still contribute towards society, and we've still got skills that we can pass on. We've got to be given the opportunity to use those skills. Now, Chris, we met when we were doing a transport report up in Formby, and then you eventually attended our LEN group. What does the LEN group mean to you?
One word, acceptance. You don't have to explain, or I hate using this word, apologise. It's just being. And as we know, not all the people who attend have got dementia, yeah. And it's far more of a, I mean, you know, we make quite a journey across Liverpool to get there, because it does, it's full acceptance.
So besides attending the LEN group, what other support groups do you have in your area?
Right, well, I've learnt actually to reach out. When you first get the diagnosis, you think, oh, well, we don't need any of that. And as time moves on, you think, oh, perhaps we do. And we go to a dementia choir, which is one session a month that we go to in Old Roan, and it's held in a church, although it's not a church thing, they just use a meeting room, but they have a lovely cafe there, so we make quite a day of it. We go out, we have lunch, and then we attend that. We go to a dementia choir in Southport, and that's every Tuesday. And that's fabulous because we sing, but we also get up and dance, and just the movement. And some of the things that I've seen there with people who are further down the road, and again, just joyous when something clicks, that music, that magic. Music is magic when it comes to it. We are not particularly musical people, but we found an awful lot of pleasure in attending the groups. And we just started going to, it's run in our local Wetherspoons, and it's just, I think it covers umbrella. I think it's a mental health community nurse who does it. And we just sit down. You don't know whether anybody's got dementia or not, or they've got mental health problems, and you just chat. And yeah, again, you don't have to apologise. You don't have to explain.
Now, you mentioned the magic word there, music, and I was talking to Paul before about it, and he was saying that people come alive when they're singing, so do you think they should be using music more in the treatment and care of people living with dementia rather than pumping them full of pills?
Oh, Tommy, don't get me started on what should be going on in dementia care. As we all know, it is a tsunami. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's not people aren't accepting it. Just like cancer was 10, 15 years ago, you talked about it behind your hands. Yes, it's a treatment that, Vicky McClure did the dementia choir and stuff, but still things aren't moving on. And yet the number of people I meet and who understand, because they'll say, oh, my mother had dementia, or my, father, whatever. So much, we need to get that music thing.
Brilliant. Now, Paul, you mentioned before that the people that were singing, they're not all Frank Sinatra or that. And that's what makes it so special, isn't it?
It is.
You don't have to be a top singer, do you?
No. And I got so much from the fact that when I went first along to a choir group, I think Chris had to tie me and drag me back to take part in it, because there's no way I could sing. I had not a clue how to sing. And I did it because I love my wife. It's simple as that. And I went along, and over the weeks and months, few months that we've been working together on it, you see the enjoyment in it. And somebody came up to us the other day and said, Chris and I were smiling and singing something and drink and dancing after it. And this couple came up and said, You're a lovely couple. You're great. You're always smiling and you're always looking good. And we're thinking, who are we talking about here? Not us. But it was a joy, and we still. So we go there, and we will be going to other venues and doing things to explain and help others to take part. And I think it's wonderful, wonderful indeed.
Yes, it seems a thing that anyone called Paul can't sing. So, Chris, do you think that the local authorities do enough to support people living with dementia and the carers?
A simple word? No. No. It's the carers. I rejected that word, Tommy, at first. I thought, I'm not a carer. I'm a wife. I'm a best friend. I'm everything. Yeah. And Paul is saying to me, but gradually you realise that you are a carer. You have to take on a new role. No different than Paul's had to take on a new role. But, they say, carers can access this and the other. Well, yeah, they can. But what happens to the person they're caring for? Why you were having this friendly massage? Because the carers centre I'm with, they don't have space to take on. Right? So I'm currently looking round at things that Paul could do with time independently of me in a safe atmosphere.
I think it's a sad state of affairs that people do have to go around looking for these sorts of things themselves. They should be there. There should be a list of places that people can go and a safe place, and that could help ease the pressure on the family carer and give them peace of mind, because you shouldn't be having to go looking for somewhere to go that you feel safe, because is it safe?
Yeah, I like Nick too. IKEA have. They drop your child off at the soft play area.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be marvellous if we could do that? If you could say, okay, I just need 3 hours while I go and get my nails done, or, whatever. But there isn't that. And I suppose with the current financial climate, we're not going to see anything like that anytime soon, unfortunately.
There was a thing I seen in Morrison. I don't like going to the shops because I don't like walking up and down the aisles. But Morrison's have now put easy chairs for people to sit in.
All right.
So she says, you sit there and then she can go into the shop. So that was good. And I could read a book while they have little magazines and books there. So I was able to do that. And it's just a simple thing that's there.
But isn't that all down to education and talking about this illness and giving people, awareness?
Now, Chris, it was the 3rd of November 1906, a clinical psychologist and neurologist, Alzheimer, reported a particular case in a woman. Now, 118 years later, we're still talking about it. We don't seem to be any further about making life better for people living with dementia. Do you think that by people living with dementia and the carers speaking out about it, that's going to help make a difference?
It has to. It has to. And I think we need to look at different countries as well. Holland have got some amazing ideas. In an ideal world, I would love to be able to move to a village or a community where, other people were in there. I believe there's something like that in Wirral, but it's just for people living with dementia, not couples. So, as I understand it, but it just needs to happen, because I don't know how the numbers are horrendous when you look at them.
Well, as my friend Paul says, in the UK there's over 1 million people living with dementia, but that you can double that to 2 because you got your carer with them. And you can't have something for the person living with dementia if you don't involve the carer. You can't build something for the carer if you don't involve the people. We are couples. We want to live our lives together. We want to enjoy. I mean, as you say, you want to live in a place where you don't have to explain everywhere you go that I've got dementia, I've got this, I'm a carer. You want to be accepted as the perfectly normal human beings that we are.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul, if you had a few words of wisdom to give to your fellow peers.
That's difficult.
What would you say? Just a little pearl of wisdom.
Oh, I think that for every person that wakes up to the understanding of what other people have to suffer for, or to understand, that every person that achieves that can see and understand 10 more people who would like to feel that way and understand that way and happy to work with others with that way. And for me, that's what the joy is all about. when I talked about that young lad who I was able to sort of develop over to become, and to see him blossom, it's so fabulous. And I can't understand at times why other people are not seeing that that's what they should be doing, to how to develop and grow. I think it's vital. It's vital to extend the number of people, to make everybody happier, not just a few.
I get it wrong every day, almost on an hourly basis, Tommy. But you just have to keep sticking with it. Almost, and this sounds weird, but forget the past. Don't look too much in the future. Live for the day. And be forgiving of yourself. And, yeah, I think it was Buddha who said, forget, Dalai Lama said, kindness is my religion. And I can, just be kind. Kind to yourself and kind to people around you.
I think that's helping to sum it up perfectly. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the future. Live in the present. It's called the present for a reason, because it's a gift. This is the only time we can make a difference to it. This is the only time we can affect what we do. We can't affect the past. We don't know what the future is bringing. Let's live in the present. Let's enjoy the present. So to sum up, and finally, just one last question. If you had one wish, if I could give you both one wish, what would you pick? Besides let me win the lottery.
Understanding that you've accepted and understood a gift of people's understanding, that is a boon for me, but far more important for me than for them, because you have to live that one every day. People who you know and people who you come across and work with, that can be a temporary issue. It can be a one-off. It can be going. But when it's an everyday issue, that's so difficult if you haven't got a good relationship and a good bonding with other people, and we've got to get so that that's how it should be. That's my soapbox.
I thought about it. Let's have a medical breakthrough to treat.
Wow, yeah.
To treat this illness. We've found cures for various cancers. Let's find a cure.
Well, I don't think anyone could ask for a better wish than that. So thank you both very, very much for sharing your insights with us and taking the time to speak to our listeners here. So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me, but not for the last time.
No, we'll have you back.
Yeah, and thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Thank you.